being a wedding planner and going to all of these beautiful venues in the state of Florida. There's nothing like this. And a lot of our couples choose to do part of their cocktail hour outside because our oak trees light up from top to bottom. Oh my gosh, it is stunning outside.
Shelley, are the guests that you serve involved in the execution of events at all?
Absolutely. We actually have guests that are in our housing program that do help a lot of times.
There's nothing bad about a homeless ministry being part of your wedding venue.
Trinity Oaks worked with the community to deliver a dream wedding to a woman battling a rare autoimmune disease.
There's been a lot of tears flowing the last few weeks between vendors, the couple, and Matthew's Hope. All the vendors had a touch of blue on them, and we were all her something blue. The kids kept pulling all the vendors on the dance floor, and you would have never known what was going on. I mean, their mom's terminally ill. Our photographer got right on it, and that night, People magazine published the entire article and spotlighted her rare illness. She called me crying. She's gaining friends that have the same
so much support,
and they're in different countries and states, and they're going through the same stages she's going through right now. And with this being rare, she doesn't have that.
Hi everyone, I'm Tracy Lewis from Imagine Marketing. I am joined by Shelley Bradford, who is the President and Executive Director of Matthew's Hope, and Courtney Woolbright, who is the Venue and Events Director for Matthew's Hope and Trinity Oaks. This week, we're going to share some details about the Trinity Oaks event venue, which is here on the Matthew's Hope campus in Cocoa, Florida, as well as some of the reactions that Courtney has encountered in response to the idea of choosing a homeless ministry as your wedding venue. Plus, hear the story that has been going viral in the past week about how the community pulled together to provide a dream wedding for a woman with a rare autoimmune disease. Welcome to episode 74 of Straight Talk, No BS with Matthew's Hope, presented by Imagine Marketing. Imagine Marketing is a full-service marketing firm based in Winter Garden, Florida. At Imagine Marketing, we put in the extra effort to craft a tailored strategy for success. Our comprehensive marketing solutions will help drive a unified message across all mediums. We also offer photography, videography, and even podcast production services. So book a free consultation today. Courtney, before we learn about Trinity Oaks, let's learn more about you. Tell everyone about yourself and your background.
So my name is Courtney Woolbright. And when I graduated from college, I went straight into the dental field, which a lot of people in the industry don't know. I was in the dental field for 5 years, loved it, loved everybody I worked with, loved all the companies I worked with. But then I got married and I became in love with the wedding industry. So I decided to go ahead and be a certified wedding planner. So I went to school, got that, got my certification, and I opened up my own company called I Do For You. And that went along for a few years until I literally feel like I fell into Scott and Shelley's lap at Matthew's Hope. And we kind of introduced Trinity Oaks. We got a wedding expo going. I ended up coming on full time and with Trinity Oaks. And now I work for Matthew's Hope full time, which has been a very surreal moment of what I have learned and everything like that.
So how did you guys meet?
So we actually met from a girl named Haley. And she was here helping out with the venue before, and she brought me in to meet Scott and Shelley, and we just started rolling from there. I feel like they're family now. We're so close.
Yeah.
And how do you feel your level of awareness of the homeless crisis around the area before Matthew's Hope?
Yeah, before today. Yeah.
So I will be fully honest. I was one of those people that I would be like, oh my gosh, they're on the side of the street. Really? I was one of those people. And it wasn't till I joined Matthew's Hope for a few months and started really learning from Scott and Shelley and Shannon and Charlene, really what got these people on the road. I have been to a few outreach days and some of the events where we are actually working with some of the guests. And it really opened my eyes after hearing stories. And I have a whole different perspective on who's on the side of the road right now.
Yeah, there's so many different variables to it. Shelley, for those who have never visited this campus, can you give everyone a big picture description of the property here in Brevard County?
So what this is this is 6 acres. It is a former church. And when we actually, purchased it, we thought to ourselves, okay, so what can we do with the sanctuary? What can we do with the, at the time it was called some kind of hall. So now we call it our outreach center. Okay. So we have the church building, which is beautiful. There's a lot of history in it. Then we have the outreach center. Then we have a back building that has a whole bunch of Sunday school classes, and attached to that is our preschool. And then we have our wood shop as well as our admin offices.
And those classrooms, are they being utilized for the guests now?
Right now, they're not.
Okay.
We're actually trying to get it to where those are going to be mini apartments.
Oh, okay.
So, which will be great because then, we'll be able to house, people on site as well, and get them off the streets and, put them in our transitional housing program.
Nice. And where did the idea to create this venue for the public to also use?
Well, when we first started talking about it, to me, it made no sense at all. But that's just because I'm coming from my Southern Baptist roots, and I was thinking, well, yes, it's a beautiful sanctuary, and I want to get married again because of that, to the same person, to be clear. But other than that, I thought, well, we're at church, so how are we going to serve alcohol, and how are we going to do all that? Well, in fact, we're not a church. We're a ministry, and it's okay if we serve alcohol, which is great. And the venue, does help raise money towards Matthew's Hope as well.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Courtney, as the event coordinator, what excites you about Trinity Oaks when you first saw it?
So when I first toured the venue, it was still under construction. And I immediately, being a wedding planner and going to all of these beautiful venues in the state of Florida, especially Brevard County, the bridal suite and the groom suite, it caught my eye before it was even done. I said, there's nothing like this. The vintage feel, the space, the room, the mirrors. Some of our bridal suites in Brevard County don't have air conditioning. These two, there's just so many different things. I was like, wow. And when construction was complete and you walk through those sanctuary doors, you think, oh, this is it. And then we take our couples back to the bride and groom suite. It's just a breath of fresh air. It's amazing. You can just feel the love in those rooms.
Mm-hmm. That's great. So for those who are watching and listening, take us on a virtual tour of Trinity Oaks and describe what makes it such a great venue. You talked a little about the bridal suite and the groom suite. What else can people expect?
Absolutely. So usually when we do start our tours, we start in what I call the sanctuary lobby, which is our cocktail hour start. So there is a built-in bar. There's 2 restrooms. There's a nice space of high tops. And that also moves into our outdoor area.
It's air conditioned.
It's air conditioned, yes. And that's a big deal.
Yes.
So we move into our courtyard, and a lot of our couples choose to do part of their cocktail hour outside because our oak trees light up from top to bottom. So if you have that 5 p.m., 6 p.m. ceremony start time, oh my gosh, it is stunning outside.
Wow.
So we have that whole cocktail hour area with an indoor, outdoor, and our bartenders love the built-in bar because they're not just with tables. And you walk into this massive tall ceiling sanctuary, which is our ceremony space. A lot of churches in Brevard County don't have an aisle to walk down. It's auditorium. So you have all this seating with multiple aisles. And we are all 2 aisles, our 2 rows, 1 aisle. And it seats 400 people, which is very uncommon for Brevard County. So if you want that big event and in the wedding industry, it's perfect. We have the Beauty and the Beast lanterns. I tell every couple that if you look up, there is stunning Beauty and the Beast lanterns that are just massive and they just light up the room perfectly. You have the stained glass. You walk up and you have the beautiful staircase that your dress train gets to drape down. We have space for a live band if you wanted a live band, which has been taken advantage of a lot.
I bet.
And then on both sides, so we keep them separated because that's my thing. We have the bride suite on the right, groom suite on the left, and they both have their own bathrooms, air conditioning units, space, and they both hold up to 25 people. So if you have a lot of immediate family and bridal party, it's perfect.
Oh, I love that.
So when we go back out, we'll take them across the courtyard, which our big bell is our center of our courtyard, is used for every single wedding for photography purposes. It's gorgeous to drape your dress on. Our photographers have a lot of fun with that. And we move into what Shelley calls our outreach. And when we move into weddings, we call it our reception hall because the Brevard wedding community doesn't know what outreach means. And that's been something we've been trying to let everybody know what it is, but it's our reception hall and it seats 220 guests, which is a perfect amount for someone with a big wedding. And I love it because we include tables, chairs, and linens. So a lot of venues don't include the linens, and we do.
Nice.
We also have a stage where if you had a band, they can be off the floor to give you more room for a dance floor. We have a fully equipped kitchen, and we have the catering fridges and freezers, and it just makes life easy. I had a vendor tell me just this past weekend, your venue makes a vendor's life easy. It has everything that we need in one spot.
That's nice.
And it just, so when they come, they know they're walking into a breath of fresh air. It's also really cool because a little bit that's different you asked about our venue is we have a wedding planning team on site. That's I Do For You. And so a day of coordinator, which is usually about $1,000 for couples, comes with the venue price. Wow. So you have someone that's running your day, running your timeline, decorating for you, vendor management. So you can just go enjoy the day with your bridal party and family.
I love that. So I'm a very visual person. If somebody would love to like visually look at this, do you have a video or something online that people can look before booking?
It's actually in the process right now.
Okay.
So we do have a video that's been put together. It's a full tour of our campus, and we're getting ready to do the voiceover for it.
Okay.
So that's going to be posted on our website and social pages because we do have people from out of town that will call us because we're very close to the cruise ships, and they'll say, hey, we're doing a ceremony somewhere close, and then we're busing everyone to do our reception and going to the Bahamas on a cruise. So those kind of people don't always have the time or even money in this economy nowadays to fly down just to see a venue.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, I think that'll be really helpful.
Yes.
And when you talk about Trinity Oaks with people considering hosting a wedding here, do you mention that the property is also a homeless ministry?
So most people will come in already knowing that because Matthew's Hope's name is in our venue name.
Okay.
One question that I will get is, what is Matthew's Hope if they haven't already researched? Every single person, non-wedding and wedding, that I've given a tour to has asked what Matthew's Hope is. It is absolutely incredible to me that we have had couples put on the back of their stationery, instead of gifts, we'd like you to make a donation to Matthew's Hope with a QR code. There's so many people that have reached out to us and stayed consistent donors since they've had their big day here. So I have never had a bad reaction. Something that we get asked sometimes is, as a homeless person going to come up on my wedding. I can't guarantee that's not going to happen, but what I can tell you is they're not bad people.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just want a water. And what I was so proud of last weekend is we did have that happen 3 times before our wedding started, and all the vendors were so comfortable with going and grabbing someone a water and then just escorting them off the property. So there's nothing bad about a homeless ministry being part of your wedding venue.
I love that. I love that. And I'm kind of honestly surprised a little bit, just because like you, I was very like, oh, they're homeless. They're on the street. They should work more. They should do better. They should do they should, right? Like putting that stamp, whatever on them. So it's really a breath of fresh air knowing that you're getting such great reaction and that they're stepping up and actually like taking action with you guys and grabbing each other's hands and helping.
Yeah. It's
really,
a very,
really cool.
very, very cool environment. And it's changed my experience in the industry completely.
I bet.
Yeah.
What are the impressions of people that come here and tour the property with you while they're here?
Absolutely. I will say, so we always start our tours in the sanctuary. And if you ever have the chance to come and see Trinity Oaks, you'll see why. Because you walk in and it's just, wow. It is unlike any other venue because we have church venues, but we don't have enough of them in our county. So if you want that church feel, it's just incredible. And I think I've done a lot of tours where I've had some tears falling from Mother of the Bride mainly. And she sees her daughter's vision coming to life.
I'm like getting goosebumps.
Yes, absolutely.
Just because you've been walking in here, that's exactly what it was. Like you guys had some soft music in the background and just like the stained glass and just like, oh my gosh, this is like, it takes your breath away.
And that's what we do. Yeah. We always have some soft ceremony music playing during tours so you can really feel that vibe of, wow, I can see myself walking down the aisle to this in 6 months.
Definitely. Shelley, are the guests that you serve involved in the execution of events at all?
Absolutely. We actually have guests that are in our housing program that do help a lot of times. And, whether they, do security or help with cleanup. Absolutely. It's
We've
always
gotten very close with them.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Gives them a purpose as well.
Shelley, you mentioned it gives them purpose. Tell us more about that.
You know, a lot of times our guests come in and they've been beat up by life. We have one guest that's been told that he's worthless all of his life, which is horrible. I can't imagine anybody telling their child that.
Yeah.
But, you know, he's really been made to feel important in this whole process. You know, he was made to feel important in events that we've had. We had a speakeasy a couple months ago, and he was part of the process. He was part of the setup. He was part of, you know, the rollout crew. He was part of the cleanup. It just made him feel important. So, you know, just to give them something else to do besides, you know, mopping floors or whatever they need to do around here. I mean, because we do keep our guests busy here.
What a great space to feel so empowered and to be like, oh, I can do this. And oh, I am good at this. Or, oh, I am needed.
Right, right.
So those that are renting the venue for their event, are they aware that some of the people working are homeless or were homeless?
I know. I don't think it's necessary. One of the big parts of Matthew's Hope is we want to hide people in plain sight. So why would we point out that somebody's homeless? They're here to work, just like you go to a job every day. Nobody knows what you live in. But most people don't. I guess, right?
Absolutely.
You know,
the status of anything.
Yeah, it's nobody's real business.
So I know we've talked about this in previous episodes, but can you touch again, like you said that you want to hide them in plain sight. What does that mean?
It means that we want to just make sure that the guests that we serve, if we cannot get them off the streets today, we want them to at least look like you and me. They've been showered, they have had, you know, haircuts, they have fresh, clean clothes on. They just blend in. And so, you know, we just really want our guests to blend in as best as possible if we can't get them housed at that moment.
And we've talked about dignity a lot. I suppose that helps with their dignity.
Absolutely.
Because somebody is not going to look at them sideways or say something rude to them that they shouldn't be saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Courtney, so we've been talking a lot about weddings, which is beautiful and I love it. It's so amazing. But what about other events? Are those hosted here too?
Yes, actually. So a lot of Matthew's Hope fundraiser events that are not weddings are held here. And that has caught the attention of a lot of companies, local companies. They are hosting animal shelter nights. They're hosting all kinds of fundraisers for their company.
Nice.
We have a lot of baby showers, bridal showers, gender reveals, birthdays, every kind of event. And because of our church space, we do hold funerals. And that has been a whole different vibe for me because we've had a few funerals here that's been 600 guests. And it's definitely been a different environment and different area of the event industry that I'm in. And we've just started saying yes to everything. Absolutely, we can host your event. Not a problem. We make it work. We have so many spaces that you can rent on property. I always tell people there's just 5 different spaces. You got to see all 5. It's amazing.
Yeah.
How amazing is that? Because I live over in Winter Garden, and all the time in our community groups, people are asking for space. Like, where can I do this? Where can I do that? And I feel like there's such a lack of space. So that is so amazing that, you know, and even for the listeners who don't live in Brevard County, they can come here. It's only like an hour. It wasn't a bad drive at all to come here. So that's great.
We have a few Orlando couples that have came over here.
That is awesome. So we promised everybody more details on a story that has gone viral in the last week about how Trinity Oaks worked with the community to deliver a dream wedding to a woman battling a rare autoimmune disease. Can you tell us more about that?
Oof, that hits close to home right now. Very, very fresh right now. There's been a lot of tears flowing in the last few weeks between vendors, the couple, and Matthew's Hope, and also the couple's family. So owning a wedding and event planning company, I got a very interesting phone call one day from the Wish Upon a Wedding Foundation, which is just like the Make-A-Wish Foundation for terminally ill children.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so she's talking to me about this couple and she's like, they live here. And I'm like, okay, that's our venue street. And I was like, this is all just almost like God was like,
right,
they are meant to be here at Trinity Oaks and Matthew's Hope. Like, I have goosebumps just saying it. So I was like, okay, so absolutely. What does this entail? She goes, okay, well, you would be required to, of course, gift your services. Not a problem. Happy to do that. This bride is terminally ill. Let's do everything we can. And then you're required to do the venue and every single vendor at no charge. And I was like, okay, it's Brevard County. I have lived here since I was 2 years old. we know so many people this can happen. So we signed the contract with the Wish Upon a Wedding Foundation and got started right away. And I will say I'm so blessed to have my team behind me, because there were so many little moments that after we planned the things that were needed in the wedding, Scott and Shelley gifted the venue. Then we had the DJ with DJ Chemix and the photographer with Tamsin. And it just kept going and going and going. We're like, okay, check, we're done. And we have another month left. What else can we do? We contacted Heidi with Hopefully Ever After Designs, and she did swag bags and apparel for the groomsmen and bridesmaids. That was a surprise. Yes, we contacted Hot Rays. They got a getaway car for the couple, and it took them to a hotel in Cape Canaveral, Holiday Inn Express, that's right by the cruise ships. And not only did they donate the room, they decorated it for their honeymoon suite. And there was rose petals everywhere and their favorite candies. And it was, I have so many goosebumps. I can't tell you how many times I've cried in the last month. So a little bit about the process is we have over 24 vendors. I wish I could list them all. 24 vendors gifted their services, and it was right under $55,000 total, which is a big wedding in the industry. And so we come to rehearsal, and we are in the sanctuary, and here comes all the family. They have so many children, which were all part of the bridal party. And I turn around, and we're getting ready to start rehearsal, and everyone's crying. And they're walking in the bride suite and the groom suite, and it's got food from Publix. It's got drinks donated from a donor. It's got the swag bags. It's got everything. And it was just the most emotional experience I could have ever imagined. And that wasn't even wedding day yet.
Wow.
So it was so amazing, because we had a local, Keep It Local Brevard. Her name is Gail. She shut down her whole restaurant and did their rehearsal dinner. So just those things that went above and beyond, that you're like, whoa, it just kept going and going and going. And we get to wedding day. We had so many hands on deck. A little thing that hasn't really been publicized that I'd love for everyone to know is all the vendors had a touch of blue on them, and we were all Her Something Blue. So that has not really been said yet. So I feel like that is something that touches a little bit of hearts in the vendor industry, is it was just that little detail that we had. I've worked with these vendors so many times, and I've never seen any of them cry. And the whole ceremony, there was not a dry eye. It was incredible, amazing. And I even told my mom, I said, I feel like I am not even alive right now. Like, this is so cool. And so bride comes out, ceremony, she's crying. We're trying to fix her makeup before she walks. It was the most special thing ever. Reception goes, and we enter this reception hall, and vendors are usually very like formal. We're all in black. We're doing our job and proper, and everything. It was a different vibe. All the vendors were dancing. The kids kept pulling all the vendors on the dance floor. We had so much fun with this group of people, and you would have never known what was going on. I mean, their mom's terminally ill. And Chris, who she just married, talk about an amazing human being. I mean, so Florida Today shows up at the wedding, and they cover the whole wedding. And I was like, this is so cool. Brevard County's going to know everything. Florida's going to know everything. This is amazing. That goes out the day after, and we're like, oh, this is so sweet. This is amazing. The next day, we get a phone call, and it was the foundation. They're like, we need photos edited, but we can't tell you why. Anybody in the industry is going to go, a photographer needs to edit how many photos in what amount of time? That's a lot. And they're like, we can't tell you why. We just need photos. So our photographer got right on it. She sent those over. And that night, People Magazine published the entire article listing as many vendors as they could out of this list of 20 plus, and spotlighted her rare illness, to the point where I'm reading all these comments on People Magazine, and sure, it's really great that the vendors got this spotlight and the wedding industry got it.
Sure.
But she is now gaining friends. She called me crying. She's gaining friends that have the same
so much support
thing. And they're in different countries and states. And they're going through the same stages she's going through right now. And with this being rare, she doesn't have that.
Absolutely.
And I was like, this is more than just a story. There's so much, I don't want to say hate,
bigger,
but this world has gotten so rough. Where everyone is judging everybody, making fun of everybody, and
out for themselves.
Absolutely. That it was just heartwarming to read comments of like, this is what it's about.
Yeah, for
we need to love on each other. And it was not a story I was ever expecting to go viral. I've never been a part of something viral before. So it was such a cool experience. And I think it hasn't hit most of our vendors yet. One thing that I was very surprised the couple did, because it doesn't get done every time, is she comes in and the bride and groom come in the day after their wedding, and they hand me a stack of cards with every vendor's name on them. And they said, can you hand these out? So vendors have been stopping by this week, and I've been giving them the cards and they're reading them. And there's no one in this entire church sanctuary, and everybody's just crying all over again. Aww. She wrote the most heartwarming words to all these vendors. And that card is going to stay with us forever. Mm-hmm. It just means so much. Mm-hmm. And for them, they even gave a little bit back to Matthew's Hope the day after their wedding. Mm-hmm. And it's been a very humbling experience. And it kind of makes you slow down in life and go, what's important?
What's important?
Right.
And they have made me realize that for our staff, for our scheduling, for our families of, it is your daughter's birthday. You're not working this weekend. You're going to go spend it with your family. Mm-hmm. Like those kind of things are important in life.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have goosebumps talking about this because it's so fresh, but it's been one of the most humbling, but also coolest experiences to be a part of with the most amazing people in Brevard County.
How beautiful. Like, I can't even imagine. Mm-hmm. Like, I've been following it and reading and all of these things. And I'm so happy that you were able to be a part of that, and all of the other ones, everybody else to be a part of that. That is so great. So you mentioned the value of that wedding would have been close to $55,000. Mm-hmm. How does the cost of an event or how much does an event at Trinity Oaks compared to similar venues?
Absolutely. It's a great question. So when I came in, there wasn't a whole lot of pricing established. We're kind of just basing it off the event. So I was like, okay, I'm going to show you guys what my favorite venues charge. Mm-hmm. And we're going to go over, because it's so hard. I get asked all the time, like, what's your favorite venues? It's very hard to say that because you have barns, you have hotels, you have ballrooms, you have churches. We are all polar opposites. So we kind of went a little bit, and there's not a church like us in Brevard County. So it was really hard to sit down and be like, well, what do we charge? Because there's nothing to compare to.
Sure.
And so we went kind of based off some of the average guest counts we can hold. And one thing that Scott said to me was, I want to remain affordable, because this is Matthew's Hope, and I want it to mean something to everybody. Yeah. So we came up with a cost, and we dropped it $3,000. Like, that's a big chunk. Mm-hmm. And so you can rent the venue anywhere from $500 to $5,000. That includes spaces, different spaces. It's wedding versus non-wedding, because there's a lot of differences that go into play with bridal suites versus not using them. So the max that we charge is $5,000, which in the industry is not high at all. No. The sad thing about being in the industry is the wedding, weddings are so expensive. It's so sad how many people cannot have a wedding nowadays because they can't even find a place to have that wedding.
Right.
So we really focused on cost and making sure that we don't go above that 5,000 mark, because that's where couples go, whoa, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. And there's so much value in that 5,000.
There is. It could be a lot more. And that's when people tour the property, they're like, wow. Mm-hmm. Like, and I told Scott and Shelley this one day, I've only had one person not book out of all the tours we've done. And it's very cool, because that's unusual. Not all of us are going to get bookings. I know when I was a bride, I was like, oh yes, let's go venue hopping.
Yes.
And sure, there was venues that we went to that my mom was like, we're going here. And I was like, no, we're not. And so there's certain things where, like, for someone to be like, oh, we're not going any further, this is what we want, is amazing. It's incredible.
That's really special. Shelley, when you and Scott had the idea of this venue, could you ever imagine that it would be where it is or where it's going?
Not this fast. I mean, really, Courtney took it and gave it gas, gave it jet fuel. It's really kind of been cool to watch. I mean, to just watch the joy that she has and what she does is amazing, because not everybody has that. They really don't. So it's really been cool just to kind of watch it grow, and it has grown fast. I'm tired just watching it. So I can't imagine
Good
how
thing
she
you have
is.
Courtney.
we haven't even been open a year. I call it a baby venue to everybody, because it's a baby venue. We're not even at our year mark. Our year mark will be at the end of June because that's when we had our first grand opening. And we've already made $59,000.
That's amazing.
And for a baby venue, that's so incredible. And 75% of that goes back to Matthew's Hope, which all warms everyone's heart that they're
Definitely.
helping.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, Courtney, what are some of the events that are coming up this year that the public can attend here at Trinity Oaks?
Absolutely. So the first one that's coming up very quickly is Neon Nights, and that's on in the end of April. And it's going to be a live band DJ with Space Coast Weddings. We're going to have past appetizers and bar with cocktails to you. And it's going to be so much fun to the point where you're going to dress all groovy.
Yeah.
And our team likes to have a good time. So just be ready to dance and have a good time.
I love
We
that.
then move into our car show, which is something we're introducing to Brevard this year. And we're very excited about it because we wanted to do it on Father's Day weekend. Let's highlight the fathers, the moms. I can say this. The moms always get the highlight.
They do.
So let's get some highlight on those fathers. We were like,
great.
let's do a car show. Okay, let's have food trucks. Oh, wait, let's have a bar. So we were like, we've got this whole event going now. And now we've got music, bar, a car show. And it's going to be so much fun with the food trucks and everything. And then at the end of the year, around November time, is our annual speakeasy event, which is one not to miss. Was our first time doing our speakeasy over here
So
last
good.
year. And it was the coolest event I have ever done in my life. And I do events for a living. I mean, Brevard, everyone that was there last year is like, oh, we're so excited. It's so cool.
I mean, the how she did the outreach center,
Yeah.
it didn't even look like the outreach center.
Mhm.
It was just amazing. How
You
she
walked in and you're like,
transformed
whoa.
it. Yeah, wait a minute. Where are we? Are you sure? Where you say we are?
That's
It
great.
was amazing.
That
It's
is so
amazing,
cool.
yeah.
So, Courtney, for those who are interested in coming to any of these events, where can they go and how do they buy tickets?
Absolutely. So you're going to go to Matthew's Hope website. You're going to click the little events tab at the top, and all of our events for both Brevard and Orange County. Remember, Orange County is not too far, so those events are fun too.
They are.
So Brevard and Orange County are all there, and we're trying our best to make sure we stay ahead of schedule. So 2026's schedule will be coming out here this summer, so you can plan for next year's too.
Courtney, you mentioned to go to the website. Could you remind everybody what the website is?
Absolutely. MatthewsHopeMinistries.org.
Thank you so much for joining us, Courtney. How beautiful this conversation was. I'm so excited for everybody that's involved, that has been involved, and that it continues to be involved. That is so great. And thank you all for listening and watching. If you're interested in learning more about Trinity Oaks, please reach out to Courtney. She is your gal. She is so fun, and she will give you the tour of a lifetime. So check it out. Please like, comment, subscribe, share all of those things so we can get this message out there.